All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You already know what time it is. Right here, we are actually joined by a phenomenal Canadian artist. That's right. We got Amy Gabba and the Almost Famous right here live on the FM dial, and of course, Facebook and YouTube as well. How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just enjoying my evening. Definitely looking forward to the weekend. We're almost there. Thank God. We only got a few more days left.
Oh, I know. Well, isn't it only Tuesday? Actually, let's not remind myself that it's only Tuesday. Let's just pretend it's Friday. But I'm going to let you do that interview for me, or that introduction for me, for all my interviews from now on, because that was great.
Hey, I honestly, I don't know if the other hosts of the other interviews will appreciate that, but if they're up for it, I can definitely sign. I can definitely utilize my voice.
I love it. I'll be like, I brought my own hype man. I got you covered.
But I know you're a very busy individual, Amy, so I'm not going to take too much of your time this Tuesday evening. But I got to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, and I just have to ask, what actually inspired and pursued your career within the music industry? Because honestly, you are such an amazing, gifted artist, and I'm not just saying that because I got you on my radio. I'm actually really do mean that. You are a gifted, talented individual.
Oh man. See, now I'm gonna get all awkward and shy, but thank you. Um, Honestly, it's my mom. If I didn't have the mom that I do, I'm so lucky that she pushed me, because I always sang and I always wanted to sing, but I hated being on stage, and I had really, really bad stage fright. So she really pushed me to do like a lot of shows. And even though I would just panic and have a full anxiety attack before I do it, it just, the practice makes perfect kind of bit. So she actually had me singing in bars when I was like 10. I had a residency at a bar called Bronco Billy's in Calgary, Alberta when I was 10 years old. And I used to play there on Tuesday nights. So that's kind of where it all started. And then she would just kind of sign me up to like audition for things or to like enter these competitions. And it was just kind of her kind of pushing me gently from behind to do all these things that were outside my comfort zone that kind of got me here. And I think of just a lot of luck, meeting the right people. And I actually just like ran back here after having dinner with my engineer and producer, Dave Irish, who, I don't know if you're familiar, he's done like all of Real Big Fish's records, and he's just so uber talented. And we just like met at Warped Tour, like complete chance meeting, and the rest is history. So like I wouldn't have these songs or like this record without him either. So it's just a combination of really good people in my life kind of helping me get to where I am.
And when you said a few moments ago how when you're obviously a lot younger, you actually experienced those anxiety issues on stage. Obviously, as an adult, you had so much practice throughout the years. Does it ever actually kind of like resurface as an adult sometimes, and you're like, "Holy crap! Like,
Oh, it never goes away.
why do I feel like this?"
It's always there. I think it just, it doesn't rule you quite as much. Like you got a little bit more experience in how to deal with it. I've got better coping techniques, but oh my gosh, I still have anxiety before every single show I play, especially if there's, if it's like a Toronto show or if it's a hometown show or if there's like people in the audience that really, really care about or, make me nervous because I really want them to, be impressed. Anxiety definitely is a lot thicker for those shows, but I think you just get better at coping with it and using it, right? Like now I use that to get up there and be like, I know I'm going to be fine once I hit that stage. It's just that, 10 or 15 seconds before it happens where you kind of feel like the sky is falling, but it's not, and you're going to be okay. So, but I don't know if that really ever will go away for me. It's always there, but I think it helps me now. Whereas before it used to paralyze me a little bit more.
And while we're still on the topic of shows and whatnot, I know you mentioned a few moments ago about the Warped Tour, and I actually had that in my question list.
Oh,
What was it like actually performing on the infamous Warped Tour? And of course, what is one of your most fondest memories of that? Because unfortunately, a lot of this generation won't ever know exactly what a Warped Tour experience is like. Because unfortunately, it's a thing of the past nowadays.
well, I was never lucky enough to get on Warped Tour. So I was there as kind of a fan, but I had a lot of friends who were on Warped Tour. So I mean, I did hit the stage. I did get to sing with Masked Intruder for a few different dates where I hopped up for Heart Shaped Guitar. So that was really cool. But as an artist, I actually wasn't on Warped Tour. And it's pretty sad that I never really got to experience the full, packing up the bus and going city to city. I wish I had, but, being there and getting to see it from, a fan perspective, but also just kind of side stage was really cool. And I made a lot of friends there that I still keep in touch with to this day. But yeah, sadly, as a Amy, Gabba, and the Almost Famous Band never got the opportunity to play Warped Tour.
And also on July 5th of 2019, you actually released the amazing 5-track EP titled The Heart is Stupid. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story behind this EP. And of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy of it today?
Yeah. Okay. So the store. Well, here I'll tell you where you can get it first. You can buy it or stream it through Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. I think like Deezer. There's like all those places where you get your music from. It's up there. I think it's on Amazon Music. I can't even list them all. There's a whole bunch. So if you just kind of Google it, I'm pretty sure wherever you get your music from, it'll pop up. But the story behind that record was that we never planned to put out a record. It was Dave, who I was just talking about. We were just chatting backstage at Warped Tour, and he's like, I hear you write songs. And I was like, yeah, I write songs. He's like, what kind of music do you write? And I was like, I do a little bit of everything. And he's like, do you write any ska? And I was like, yeah, I think I got a few ska songs sitting in my email there somewhere. And I just fired the demos off to him. And I think like the next day he emailed me and was like, hey, do you want to come to California in December and record these songs? Because they're really good. And so like we weren't like, we're going to put out a record. We're going to start a band. We're going to like, there was really no intention. It was like, oh, I'm just going to go to the studio. And I didn't know that Dave, had this $1 million incredible studio. Like I was like, yeah, like studio. Everyone says studio, but then it's like, and their Pro Tools in their mom's basement or something. You never really know what to expect. So I just kind of showed up thinking we were just going to like, goof around. And it was just like walking into the most beautiful, incredible studio I've ever been in my entire life. And all these like session musicians were there waiting and they had learned my songs. And I was just like, not at all prepared for what I walked into. And then they turned out so well that we were like, well, I guess we have to release these now. We just put all this time and energy into it. And they sounded so good. I almost didn't even believe it was me, on the record. Cause it was just like, Dave just does such a good job. He's so talented, and all the details and his production and his ear for quality is just incredible. So we just kind of, July 5th was the day they ended up just being thrown up. Like we didn't do like a countdown. We didn't do a release date. Like we just were like, let's just throw them up online and see what happens. And then the rest is history. So it's kind of funny to just see how that kind of happened as a happy accident. And now this time round 2, we're doing everything with intention and just realizing how different it is this time around. I almost kind of prefer it the old way because there's no stress. There's no pressure. You're just like, let's just put them up online and see how it goes. And I mean, I don't think we expected people to listen or for them to get the audience that they have. So we're really, really, really grateful for that. It's still pretty surreal.
And he definitely picked a great time to actually bring you out to California, because obviously we both know this because we're Canadians, but all the people that are watching from around the world, it gets really terribly cold here in Canada in December. So going out to California in December, honestly, is just another blessing that you have had the opportunity to actually enjoy.
And it was right over Christmas, actually. It was like December 23rd, I think, until like December 28th, I was there. So I got to see palm trees instead of snow for Christmas for the first time in my life. That was really cool. So that definitely one of my favorite Christmases on record.
I know this is probably like a weird kind of question to ask because obviously it's not music related, but when you were actually out there in California for Christmas, as a Canadian that's used to snow and used to seeing like Santa Claus in snow, what was it like actually being in California, seeing all these Christmas decorations, but pretty much like in summer paradise? Was it different for you?
It was the best. I was like, hey, I never ever want to be home for Christmas ever again. No offense, family. No offense, friends. Love you. But when it's not like, I grew up in Alberta where it's like -40 all the time at Christmas. It's terrible. It's too cold to even walk the dog. So having beautiful weather and seeing people like skating outside, but it's like 80 Fahrenheit. It's just incredible. And then the studio's in Orange County, California. And I don't know if you're familiar, but they have this place called Candy Cane Lane. And it's like infamous for Christmas displays. Like it's like competitive and they give out like awards for the greatest Christmas decorations. And Dave and Ryland just like took me out one night and we just like wandered around Candy Cane Lane in Orange County. And it was the coolest thing I have ever seen. And so anytime I'm in California in December, I always try to get back there just to see the Christmas lights. Cause it's way cooler walking around seeing those lights when you're not freezing your ass off. But it was just, it's just beautiful. Like there's nothing like that here that we have. And it like, I mean, there's Christmas light displays, but like they don't even hold a candle to what it's like down there. So hi, Dave Rocket. I just realized I could see things on my phone. People are leaving messages.
Yeah, I see all the comments that pop up. So during the interviews, I always try to do the interview, but also bring up the comments as well, because I do know some people have questions or want to say hi to their favorite artists. So I always like making sure I pop them up that way. Not only the other listeners can see, but also sorry, the person I'm interviewing as well can see them.
Oh, perfect. Well, I mean, I should have used my laptop instead of this tiny little work phone I'm using, but I can kind of see things popping up. So if I missed your comments, I'm sorry.
And also, as well, on March 31st of 2021, you actually had the opportunity to be a part of Mikey and his Ike's Joan Jett Bad Reputation cover, alongside many other great artists, including The Offspring, and the list is just so long. But I was wondering, how did that opportunity actually come to be for yourself? And of course, what was it like just working on that song? And of course, the music video, because the music video, I can definitely tell it was shot from various locations.
Yeah. So Mikey and his uke is interesting because Mikey and I go way, way back, actually. We've been friends for over a decade. And he just moved back to Sault Ste. Marie, but he was in Toronto. And Mikey and his uke started out during the pandemic, during the lockdown, and he was literally just like taking requests over Instagram with him and his ukulele. Like people would be like, yeah, play this song. And then he'd learn it and he'd play it. And then eventually he was like, I really want to do Holiday Road. I don't know if you know from the vacation movies. And he was like, would you come on and do Holiday Road with me? So it was like him, me, his cousin Andrew, and Dean, our drummer from Amy DC. And that was the first real Mikey and his uke collab about like 3 weeks into the COVID lockdown. So I don't think a lot of people realize that Mikey and his uke started that way. And the first 100 videos were really just like a uke. Like there wasn't like a whole lot of other instruments. It was just like a ukulele was the only, accompaniment. And then it was just different people and different friends from around the, I would say around Canada mostly, and then eventually started to branch out across the border. So I think that one, the Bad Reputation cover, was a little bit further down the line. So Mikey and I had already kind of done a whole lot of stuff with Mikey and his uke before it got to that point, but Mikey is also pretty like secretive about it. So he'd be like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 2:00? I need your help with something. Hi, Nick and Sam. So he was like, can you meet me at Steve Risen's studio at 2:00 tomorrow? I need your vocals on something. And of course, no idea. And we actually were in a band together called the Gabba, which is where the Amy Gabba nickname comes from. And so we did Joan Jett songs all the time. And so he knew I knew that one. So he just kind of pulled me and was like, can you just do the background vocals on this Joan Jett cover we're doing with all these different people. And I don't even think I knew that like Noodles was in it or Kevin Tyler Preston. Like I knew Josie Cotton was in it. I was like, that's cool. But like it was all done separately. So I had no idea what it was going to look like until it literally was up on YouTube. And then I was like, oh my God, Chanel West Coast is in this video. And they're driving around this like beautiful pink car and Kevin Tyler Preston's driving and there's Noodles. And it was kind of like we did a couple like Ramon songs too. And it was like CJ Ramon and Chris Cresswell was in it. And then the Interrupter twins were in Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. So a lot of it was like, had no idea what I was getting myself into until it was all edited and put together. And I saw it for the first time the same way everybody else did. So that kind of made it really, really cool that it just kind of unfolded that way.
And also, aside from Amy Gabba and the Almost Famous, you were actually a part of another band called Amy DC. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a story behind that amazing tribute band. And of course, what actually got you into originally playing AC/DC music?
Oh, AC/DC was my favorite band since I was a little girl. Ever since I heard Dirty Deeds. I remember my parents went out and I think we had a babysitter and I just like, we weren't allowed to touch our dad's record collection, but she didn't know that. So the entire time she was watching us, we were just like blasting every AC/DC record because we knew that we could do it while they were gone. So I was a huge AC/DC fan since I was a little girl. When Mikey and I met, we bonded over our love for AC/DC. And honestly, Amy DC was all Mikey. Again, he was just like, hey, I want to start an AC/DC cover band. Do you want to sing it in? I was like, okay, sure. And then I just showed up to rehearsal and Paul was there and Dean and Lee and these like 4 guys are honestly my family. They're my best friends in the whole world. And it's so rare that you like play in a band with people that you actually want to spend like all your time with and want to hang out with on the weekends. And again, I don't say like no offense to other people, you know what I mean? But it's just great when you just click with people without really knowing them for a long time and you haven't put that work in and you haven't spent a lot of time together, but you're just like, yeah, I like these 4. So it makes that a lot more fun. But Mikey put it all together and basically we just started jamming together and then we started getting offered these really amazing shows. And like we just did the Motorcycle Super Show at the International Center in January for like thousands and thousands of people. And it's just been super, super cool, but I can't take the credit for that. I wanted to call it ACD She, but that name was already taken by a band in San Diego. So Amy DC it is. And yeah, we're still together. We still play. Just not as often because Mikey has to fly in for those shows.
And the one thing I really enjoy about what you guys do with this AC/DC tribute band, I like how you actually are the singer and bring a female perspective to these songs. Because a lot of the tribute bands, it sounds bad to say, a lot of them try to be and sound exactly like AC/DC, which is cool. I get that. It's a tribute band. But the fact that you bring your own originality to this band, I think is actually killer.
Well, we always say that we're like, we don't dress the part, we sing the songs and we play the songs. And you know, people, we only really do up to Back in Black. We don't do anything past that because you can't, you know, neglect Back in Black, one of the best records of all time, but we really wanted to focus on the Bon Scott era as well. So no, we don't dress up in like the schoolboy uniform and like try to look like it. But we really just really love the music. So we try to respect the songs and play them, you know, close to like the way that they're meant to be played, but just with a female vocal, because I don't know how guys even hit those notes. Like it's hard for me. And I think I've got a pretty high range. So all the props to the dudes that are out there hitting these notes for AC/DC because it's really, really hard.
And also, as well, on June 9th of 2023, you actually have a brand new album that's actually getting released by the name of Screaming at the Top of My Lungs. I was wondering, what can our listeners actually expect from this up-and-coming project when it does drop just next month? And of course, where can we actually pre-order ourselves a copy today?
Oh, I actually put it up on our Bandcamp recently. You can pre-order the vinyl record. We're going to have it on vinyl for the first time. I just listened to the test pressings with David right before we did this interview, so we're all super stoked about it. So you can go to our Bandcamp page to pre-order the vinyl record. You can also pre-order the actual album. As far as the streaming for it, you should be able to pre-order that shortly. We're just kind of getting that put up. But we've got a couple more singles to drop first. So, but as far as the physical copy of the record, you can get that through our Bandcamp page. And Jess, hi Jess. I'm excited that Jess already has pre-ordered as well. A lot of people contributed to our Kickstarter. So there's some people that have already sort of indirectly pre-ordered the record by contributing to that and helping us hit our goal. Thank you. But yeah, what you can expect. Oh my gosh, there's a bit of everything. Like there's something for everybody on this record. I think like you'll probably agree when you hear it. We're still really true to our ska sound. There's a lot of, you know, the classic Amy Gabba upstrokes and ska vibes on here, but there's also some like rock and roll, and then there's some straight up punk, and then there's some that's kind of like bluesy, and then there's one song on it that everyone keeps telling me sounds like a Miley Cyrus song. So there's a really eclectic mix of different like genres and varieties on there, and I really think that there's a little bit of something for everyone. So yes, you ska haters out there, Nick, I'm talking about you. There's still going to be music for people to appreciate if you're not like a diehard ska fan.
And the good thing is, when you actually said that there's actually a song that sounds like Miley Cyrus, where I come from in the music industry, we call that the radio candy, the stuff that the FM radio stations eat up like a fat kid in a candy store. So you send that to radio stations, I guarantee you, Amy Gabba is going to be blasted all over the world.
Here's hoping, but I also can't wait for all the sellout comments. Insert those here too, right? Shots fired. Yes, Nick. You know.
Hey, but you know, almost every band that actually becomes successful, like yourself, and gets out there, always has at least one or a few individuals that say you sold out. Like from Green Day to like Blink-182 to Sum 41, everyone has a hater. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're just kind of jealous because you're making money and making records and making fans. So at the end of the day, screw the haters. That's what I got to say about that.
Right, because you're giving people something to hate on. I don't think they're going to pick on you. Just really you know, like I take it as a compliment now. I think it used to bother me a little bit more before, but now I'm like, you know what? Hey, thanks. Thanks for hating. It's good. Even like Ryland, who co-produced the record, he sent a message. He's like, this record's so good. I'm so excited. He's like, we're going to get so many haters. And so we just kind of laugh about that. A joke now.
And also, I speak about, while we're still on the topic of this album, I actually saw that you actually have a Kickstarter campaign that actually in the works to help fund not only this album, but also a tour as well. If this Kickstarter is actually indeed still available, I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about it. And of course, where can we actually go? And of course, how can we donate to supporting Kickstart this amazing tour?
You can't anymore, unfortunately. It actually finished March 25th. So, but you know what? We hit our goal, which is great. Kickstarter is really risky, whereas if you don't hit your goal, then you get nothing. So it was a bit scary, but we hit it, and we're really excited about that. So unfortunately, nothing you can do as far as Kickstarter, but you can still support us by buying the record. If you buy merch, that helps us get on tour. If you want to buy tickets to our album release show we're doing at the Elmo Combo on June 24th, that helps us. So like you can still support us without going through Kickstarter. There's still lots of ways to do that just by going to our Bandcamp page.
And also, as well, on July 22nd of 2023, I actually read on your link on your Instagram that you will actually be taking the stage at the Buffalo Skiff Festival in Buffalo, New York. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this show, and of course, what can the Buffalo fans of Amy Gabba actually expect from this up and coming concert?
Ooh. Well, you know, we've never played Buffalo before, so we're super excited, and we're doing it with some really, really good friends. Like Working Class Stiffs is a Buffalo ska band, and they are killer. And you know, we like Girth Control, like the best ska band name ever. We're playing with Do It With Malice, who I actually saw play in Buffalo a couple months ago and was like, oh my God, I want to be in this band. Like there's some really, really good bands. I think there's like 10 or 11 bands on the bill. It's put on by Riot Squad Media. And Riot Squad is actually owned and operated by like some of my best friends, Laura, Carrie, Veronica. Like they are just this like crew of badasses just killing it in the ska and punk scene, mostly in like the New York area. So it's just going to be a big family reunion. So I think it starts at like 3:00 and it goes until like 11 or 12. And it's just going to be an all day like ska party. And I can't wait. I think it's going to be awesome. And we keep joking that we're all going to go back to our hotel room after like all 10 bands and just like watch true crime all night afterwards. Cause that's our common joke, true crime and ska. So I'm pretty stoked for that.
So you heard it here. Make sure 3 p.m. you actually get at them gates and actually hug that barricade. But also, well, don't dehydrate yourself and kill yourself. At least pack some water bottles actually in your backpack.
For sure. And but before we do that, not to just like totally derail the conversation, but we're playing punk rock bowling in Las Vegas, May 25th, which is coming up. So that's even before that. If anybody's going to be at punk rock bowling, come find us because that just got announced and we can finally talk about it. It's been a big secret for a long time. So we're excited about that show too.
And since you brought that up, I know a lot of individuals are probably thinking, where can they snag some tickets? Like, will it be on your Instagram or do they got to go to a specific site?
You just show up to the show. Actually, the one that we're playing is through Punk Rock Saves Lives, and they are the most amazing organization. They are literally saving lives. They are you can like get tested to see if you're a bone marrow match. To actually like literally save lives, but you can also donate to help the organization. They do a lot of great work in the scene for like harm reduction. But you could just show up to the show May 25th. It's at Hogs and Heifers in Vegas, and it's pay what you can. It's a $10 minimum donation to get in, but there's no advance tickets. You just show up and just a donation at the door gets you through. And we're going to have so much fun. This is the first day of the festival, or kind of the unofficial first day of the festival. So after that show, the party really starts.
Do you actually have any plans to actually check out the Punk Rock Museum? Because I know No Effects has actually got that all set up and stuff like that. I'm kind of jealous. I see so many people going through there and checking it out, and I'm sitting here in Canada like, I wish I could be in Vegas.
Yeah, we're going the next day. We're going on Friday, May 26th, and I think we've got a guided tour from Casualty, I believe. So that's what we're gonna do the day after we play the show. The first day is all business, and then after that it's just all games. It's going to be, really bad hangovers basically for 4 days.
And obviously, we talked about the new album. We just talked a few moments ago about the Las Vegas show and the Buffalo show. But aside from the album and these two up and coming shows, what is next for yourself, Amy Gabba? Like, is there anything we missed during this evening's interview? Anything else you still want to talk about, touch on, or promote?
What's next? A big nap? No, we've really. It's I always joke that it's like I finish my day job and then my night job starts every day. So we've just tons of stuff, tons of shows. The record, we're gonna be hitting the road. We're really trying to get to Europe next year. We've got quite a lot of shows, like even shows that aren't announced yet that we're playing in the US this year. So we're really excited about that. But once this record is done and our album release show is over and we kind of get a lot of this stuff out of the way, I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna have knee surgery. And then I'm gonna probably write a whole nother record while I'm recovering and do it all over again. So Philly needs to see Amy Gabba. Yes, Jess, I promise you we will get to Philly. We are working on it. We are really trying to get some dates this summer for you. So stay tuned there. We will have something either in Philly or close to Philly for you.
And also, obviously, I know how to follow you on social media, and of course, your fans do. But for the people that actually aren't following you on social media and might just be discovering you right now by listening to this interview, whether it's live or, of course, on demand replay, where can we actually follow you and stay updated on everything Amy Gabba across all social media platforms?
Not on Twitter because I don't understand Twitter or TikTok. I'm sorry, I'm working on it. But yeah, there's nothing to follow on there. But Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram, our handle is AmyGabba_AF. And on Facebook, Amy Gabba and the Almost Famous. Just type that in and you should see us pop up.
And I'm going to say first and foremost, Amy, thank you so much for just taking a little bit of your time out of your Tuesday evening just to talk about your amazing career, what you have in the works, and of course, what is yet to come. It was such an honor speaking with Canada's finest this evening, and I hope down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But also, definitely safe travel to Las Vegas come this month.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for reaching out to me and asking me to do this. I absolutely love chatting with you. Usually interviews are really nerve-wracking for me, and you made it easy. So thank you so much for having me.
Hey, you know what? If you told me I made this interview easy, honestly, at the end of the day, that shows me that I've done my job properly. So for that, thank you.
Well, awesome. Thank you. It's been awesome. And we'll definitely come back. Maybe we'll have some more news to share next time.
Sounds great, Amy. Thank you so much, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
You too.